Greetings, and thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Reverend Jim Webb, and I am doing a series of special channel sessions called Spirit Speaks on national and world events. And the reason I'm doing this is because the earth, to us, seems as if it is in such chaos, and there is a great deal of uncertainty about our future, politically, militarily, and socially. And so, at a time of such unrest, we turn to pundits and the news media and all kinds of sources. And largely, we get more drama, more fear, and more confusion. So, as a result of the debates about 12 days ago, what became clear was that the world was thrown into a new level of chaos. And the, the media was fanning the flames of this. So something said, why don't we just ask Spirit and see what Spirit has to say? And Spirit does have a definitely different perspective. And that perspective can bring us peace, and that perspective can bring us hope. So I'm going to channel Spirit today. And first, I want to demystify that. Channeling is simply releasing your own human consciousness so that a higher consciousness can come through. I've been doing channeling for over 25 years. I've been doing intuitive work for over 30, and I've been on the spiritual path in one way or another, from reading to deep meditations to transformative experiences to helping people and ministering for now over 50 years. And so in time, I have learned to release myself and my consciousness, to trust the higher power, and to open to allow it to come through me and speak through me. It's not a mystery. Although one of the things you will find, most likely, is that when I go out and when spirit comes in, I feel a rush of energy. I feel a rush of ecstasy. I feel a rush of peace and joy, not unlike what some have described as a near-death experience, because I feel the light of grace moving through what is left of my consciousness and pouring through my consciousness and using my body, my motor skills, the Google account called my mind, which has visual images, experiences, and data, and transmitting all of that, including healing energy, to you. So it's no mystery. And I have a longer intro, which I will splice to this later. But for now, I'm simply going to go out. And since this is the second week we tried this, I did it last week doing something that I had never done before. We've got a moderator. The fellow who produces my show, the Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network, Reverend Michael Mangus, is going to be moderating for us this evening. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and Reverend Michael will ask Spirit some of the questions that you put in the chat, the ones most relevant to the subject matter. And so I want to thank you, Reverend Michael, for doing this.
Oh,
And
you're
with that,
welcome.
yes. And
Anything
with,
to help bring peace and to know that it's all somehow or another working together. So
yes, yes. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to go out and let Spirit come in. All right? Greetings. It is our honor and pleasure to work with you in this way at this time. We would suggest, first of all, that you take a moment to breathe. Just breathe and receive the light we would offer to you now. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe and imagine that in this holy instant, a light of deep and unconditional love flows to, through, and around your heart center. Just breathe and imagine as you choose the hands of light, the hands of love, the hands of grace, the hands of God holding your heart center now. Just breathe. Just breathe and open your heart to this love. Just breathe and open your heart. And open yourself as you choose and as you are ready to the thought form. The hands of God hold and heal me now. The hands of God hold and heal me now. The hands of God hold and heal me now. Just breathe this in. Just breathe this in. And feel yourself being lifted vibrationally, being healed and transformed, being held in a light of love so deep, so penetrating, and so healing that you know you can let go into this love. Just breathe this in. Just breathe this in. Working with the thought form, the hands of love hold and heal me now. And make note of how you feel. As you breathe this in, ask yourself and observe of yourself if you feel any different than when you entered this experience. And if there is a part of you that feels weird or resistant to this energy, that is fine. Just allow whatever of this energy you can take in to penetrate the layers of your consciousness and the layers of your energy, and it will do what is necessary to support you in your guidance and your walk on the earth. So breathe and let go. Good. And we would begin this discussion with you by highlighting something said before the beginning of our transmission to you, and that is that all things work together for the good. We offer you a different perspective on what is happening in your world, and we will offer you a context for this, and we will then, in human terms, drill down to what is happening in your country with your politics, etc. The phrase that was bandied about between the channel and his producer was the phrase, all things work together for the good. In the channel's consciousness, we find that quote from one of your human sacred texts, the Bible, and we find a similar quote that the channel is fond of using from A Course in Miracles. If you only knew that all things past, present, and to be were gently planned by the one that would lead you to your good. And we find in the channel's human Google database another phrase, another teaching from this Course in Miracles that you humans love. That is, a happy outcome to all things assured. So while you see chaos that may cause you concern, worry, or despair, we see a reordering of the vibrational rate on the earth, a re engineering of the energy on the earth, a reshuffling of the energy of the earth. And this process is a collective process, but it is not unlike your individual process. For each of you, in your individual process of growth, healing, and transformation, go through something similar. In order to heal what keeps you from your greatest expression of love, that which keeps you from your greatest expression of love must be exposed, examined. You must be made aware of it because most of it lurks in your unconscious mind. In your, as the channel is fond of saying, in your unconscious miseducation, in your unconscious misinformation, because much of the misinformation you carry and much of the miseducation that you carry that causes you to miscreate your world exists beneath the surface of your consciousness. So it must come up. And because very few humans are adept at proactively examining their unconscious mind and healing what is there before it has a chance to magnetize and solidify and amalgamate into an external experience, you see it happening in your outer world, for you project that energy into your outer world. So you know you do this individually, but you do this collectively as well. And the earth at this time is projecting its deepest fears. Its deepest fears of regressing into a place unlike the way the earth has been evolving. Your country, the United States of America, was designed to be a new experiment in how humans could live on the earth, more heavenly, more aligned with their soul, and more able to manifest and to experience more of their soul's potential, regardless of their backgrounds or their pasts. This country was designed to create a test tube, if you will, a petri dish for the evolution of the human experience in this way. So beings from other parts of your world came here to experiment in this new way. That, of course, seems to be threatened, just as certain regressive administrations and energies seem to be coming into clear view on the earth at large. And this seems to cause a great deal of consternation, concern, fear, and worry, not only in your country, but on the earth as well. But this is the last phase of an old energy of disempowerment based on the collective idea that you are guilty and must be punished by a punishing God. Humans, no matter the religious background, have a false concept at the base of their consciousness. This false concept at the base of their consciousness is a concept of guilt and the need for punishment and the need to atone for sins and the need to suffer in order to then realize their true nature as divine and eternal beings. Now, this is becoming less necessary, for teachings to the contrary are becoming more prevalent. But this paradigm, this operating ethos, has given rise around your world to dictators who would restrict human freedoms, restrict human growth, restrict human joy, restrict human expansion, restrict human prosperity. And you see this in many of the world leaders who seem to come to prominence. And this scares you. You see this also in your country as you examine your current political system, the threat of fascism, which until recently had been unimaginable as a potential for your country, comes up. So you see this in your country and you see this around the world. It scares you. It confuses you. How could this be? It can be because it is coming up for healing. The earth has been flooded in light, and the flood of light flushes out anything unlike it. So these tendencies for regressive regimes to hurt and contain and control humans, they come up for clarity so that you can see that this is not what you individually or that you collectively would choose for the earth. And the earth has already chosen. And this is the good news. The earth has already chosen a path of freedom, a path of human dignity, a path of human expansion. Your country, as an experiment, has been a way shower for this. And that choice has been made. So, what you are seeing are the vestiges of the prior consciousness of guilt and subordination and punishment coming up for healing. And your planet has already chosen a different path. Now, what you see percolating, you see beings being empowered. And this empowerment of humans is an integral part of this evolution of your Earth. We will offer you examples of this around the world. In what you call 2016, you saw Brexit, and you saw a change in administrations in your country. Now, years later, you see that Brexit, which was a decision based on fear and what some in human terms would call otherism, and a consciousness of division versus a consciousness of union and unity. This decision has had extremely deleterious effects on the country you call the UK. Its economy has been strangled by it. The negative ramifications of it are obvious to everyone. And these negative ramifications will continue to play out as a cautionary tale to the world of what occurs when a consciousness of division, otherism, takes over, as opposed to a consciousness of oneness and unity. Europe sees this, your world sees this. Yet, echoes of this fear have shown up in other countries, such as France, where there has recently been an election. The fear was that similar energies of separation and subordination would overtake that country as well. But an aspect of the human consciousness evolved from observing what happened in England. And although there is still a bit of a wrestling match between the factions, and there is more chaos to come there, what you find is that there was less of an impetus towards the chaotic, destructive energies of separation than expected, and energies of moderation have held for now. Now, this is all cautionary to your country, for in your country, the what you call the debates of recent times has thrown what you call your election into a great deal of question. We would offer a perspective on this. The issue is not the candidates, and that is becoming apparent. The issue has never been the candidates. The issue has been how your country chooses to move forward. Does your country choose to move forward as per its design, a place where all beings are allowed and enabled to reach their fullest potential based on their souls and heart's desires? Or if it is a country that will destroy itself gradually through division and strife in a way similar to what you see happening in the UK as they chose Brexit. Now, as we said before, the light has already prevailed, and it is quite likely that your country will not choose a self-destructive path of division. So what is coming into focus now as a result of the debates is as follows. Humans in your country are becoming more informed and more empowered than ever before. As we have stated many times before, in 2000, when your election was decided by a handful of Americans, you began to get the message that every vote counted, for every vote was a choice for your individual and collective future. Now, we would put this in human terms. More humans have that memo. As a result of certain things happening, such as certain Supreme Court decisions, you realize the power of your vote and the impact of your vote, because you realize that rights and privileges that you have taken for granted for decades, if not centuries, could be taken away by a handful of humans. But you have control over who these humans are. So, as a result of this debate, there is chaos for now, for that chaos is necessary. It is a divine part of recreation. This necessary chaos causes beings to become concerned, alarmed, and to clearly contemplate and take action towards what kind of country they want to have. For the choice becomes clearer and more stark. It is not between candidates, it is between the ideology of humanness, oneness, unity, and the greater good for all, or a consciousness of continued division, chaos, separation, in truth, hatred, and the enrichment of some at the expense of others. This truth and this choice have become quite stark. What has occurred is that beings have been more mobilized and have become educated. For example, there is much more of an awareness of what you call Project 2025, which was hidden in the shadows of the potential candidates' agenda, but it has come to light. And many Americans of many political stripes find it to be extremely alarming. And this coming to light changes the dialogue. Perhaps not immediately, for your media is still obsessed with one candidate versus another. But your media shall eventually, for your media has what humans call ADHD, and their attention will wane from the current debate about a certain candidate and will move more towards the issues, regardless of candidate. And this project and will become an issue for many Americans because they know it to be the antithesis of what your country was founded upon, the principles upon which your country was founded. And that will begin to dominate the discussion. And that will change the conversation and the energy flows as it relates to your elections. And there will be other revelations that will change the energy flows as well. Your task, and this is the important part of this experience, your task is greater than you think. God, the universe, love, light, source, has been using you and will continue to use you as channels and vessels of light to bring through light and anchor it on the earth. And you have a choice as to how you allow this light to be deployed. As you have moved through your own personal process of healing and transformation, you vibrate with the energy of love, light, union, unity, expansion, inclusion, embrace, love, and oneness. And those are the energies that flow to you and through you. And those energies support a certain direction for your country and for your world. That is the direction that your world has already chosen despite the chaos. And you are channels of this light. You are bringers of this light. You are anchors for this light. And your role is larger than you believe through your human ego and its perspective. The channel is fond of the saying the Madagascar effect, where a butterfly in Madagascar flaps its wings and that current is amplified as it crosses the ocean to become a hurricane on the other end. You are butterflies flapping your wings, and the Madagascar effect of your healing, your growth, your transformation, and your opening to the light and energy of unity and oneness can, will, and does affect the planet greatly. So, despite the sorting that is still happening politically now, the Earth has already chosen a trajectory of union, peace, healing, and transformation. How long that takes is dependent on you and the degree to which you and others like you continue to open to the light and healing grace of God. Anchor this on the earth, for God is one, God is union, God is love, God is healing, God is transformative, God is uplifting, God is supportive, God is inclusive, God is grace. And that grace then descends upon the earth vibrationally, energetically. That grace touches the hearts, minds of other humans, and this supports the hastening of the happy outcome that is guaranteed, the hastening of the happy outcome of an earth in unity, the hastening of a happy outcome of an earth that vibrates at a higher dimension where there is an awareness of the unity of all beings, the interconnectedness, the oneness, the divine and intrinsic dignity of all beings, the light in all beings, the cooperation of all beings for the greatest good, and the growth and prosperity of your planet when you realize you are all one and there are no zero-sum games. So there is no longer as much of an incentive for a certain few to gain at the expense of many. For gains for one become gains for all. And this is your task. And it begins with you continuing the process of healing your heart, healing your mind, opening to light, opening to love, opening to grace, so that that which flows to and through you is simply and only the light of grace. And you become more of a vessel of this light, anchoring it on the earth, and like a butterfly flapping its wings, sending it out to the earth, hastening the Madagascar effect. And that is what you can do. So take a moment for an additional healing, and we would open this session to any questions that may have come up. Take a moment to breathe.
Yes, Spirit, we have a question from Jane Bat. She says that there is more light on the planet. I'm able to manifest some very positive things, but also some strong contradictions. What do I need to do more of?
We would work with this, and we would work with this in the context of our discussion. The earth is heaving right now because the volume of light has never been greater. The amount of light held on the earth, the amount of light called for on the earth has never been greater. But as you know, light moves into the layers of consciousness, unearthing darkness to be healed. You see that darkness in your political systems now coming up for exposure to be healed. You see it in your life. This at times may seem wrenching, and when you have great expansions like that, the contraction is simply the light going deeper pulling out more to be healed. The answer for you and for the earth is that the healing that is occurring both individually and collectively for everyone is a healing that moves greatly to the core of what has caused great pain and suffering on the earth. Just as your healing heals you to the core of what have been your core issues that have caused you struggle in your life walk. So the worst of this is over. As once issues come up for healing, largely the healing is complete. For once they have been excavated from your unconscious mind, both individually and collectively, that is the heavy lifting. The grace of God is greater than anything that comes up for healing and will heal it as you are ready to release it. And when you feel the pain of a contraction, like the pain of a labor contraction, you are ready to release it, and you do willingly. The earth is ready to release its pain and conflict and the potentials for destruction that it sees this pain and conflict causing. The earth is ready to release. So individually, you release this to God. Work with God, work with spirit, work with professionals adept and trained at supporting you in releasing the energies and the pain in a therapeutic, light filled way. And collectively, watch the earth and allow the earth to release its pain. See the grace of God lifting this pain from the earth. Knowing that these contractions, though they may seem to be intense, will will diminish to the degree where what is now seeming to be a major contraction will eventually be just a minor annoyance because the worst of it is behind you. The worst of it is behind the earth in terms of what seems to be awful, wrenching potentials. The light has already prevailed. The light has already prevailed in you, and the light has already prevailed on the earth. Have hope in this. And this is what we would say here. Is there perhaps another question?
Yes, Spirit, from Jane Bat again. She says, thank you for the positive perspective. My problem is that when I hear new political information, such as Project 2025, I feel fear again. How can you rebalance this more quickly or not fear it?
We would offer you the following. This is for each individual. There are two parts of you, one that is emerging and one that is diminishing. The part of you that is diminishing is the part of you that has felt victimized, weak, sinful, unworthy, punishable, and therefore being punished. The part of you that has felt strange and otherized and victimized and guilty and believed that God left you here without protection, without provision. That is the part of you you generally think of as your human body ego consciousness and awareness. That part of you is diminishing. Yet that part of you sees something such as Project 25 and naturally feels fear, for it fears that this is the culmination of all of its consciousness of victimhood being outpictured. Now we would say that there is another part of you, the part of you that is God. This is the part of you that you experience in meditation. This is the part of you that you experience in prayer. This is the part of you that you experience in association with other light beings. This is the part of you that has become the larger and more dominant part of your consciousness. The key here is when you feel the fear of the ego in this way, as you read And we would use human terms here, for we are observing humans looking at these documents, these projections for Project 2025, and they are actually horrified by this. So the part of you that reacts in horror to this is the part of you in fear that needs light. There is the part of you that is God that would not allow this to happen to you as beloved of God. So you immediately call forth the part of you that is God. You have become adept at calling this aspect of you forth. Call it forth, call in light, call in grace, call in peace, call in love to those places that are horrified, scared, and shocked. For these are the places that fear that its victimization would become manifest. Call in the light to these parts of yourself. Call in the light to heal the fear, the feeling of victimhood, the feeling of being sinful and thus punished, the fear of being punished for being different, the fear of being deficient for being different, because you have believed your differences were deficiencies and not understood that your differences are divine. Call in the light to heal these parts of you, and the part of you that is God, the part of you that is the channel from the God source to this part of you, this higher self, your God self, your light self, your eternal self, is able to expand its presence, its footprint as a part of your overall self. And the part of you that is ego, the inner child, the consciousness of guilt, that part of you diminishes each time you call in the light of God. And as you do this for yourself, you do this for your planet. And you see, there is so much light on the earth, which is why so much is coming up now, that this light is just waiting to absorb the consciousness of victimhood, separation, and guilt that would cause you pain, both individually and collectively. There is enough light that it is waiting for you to release this energy, both collectively and individually. So open yourself to the light of God as you did in the beginning of this session. Allow the light of God to lift this from your heart, your mind, your energy, your patterning. Allow God to transform this part of you, reminding it that it is divine, reminding it that it is holy, reminding it that it is blessed, reminding it that it is whole, reminding it that it is innocent. And each time you do so individually, you reverse the energy current of victimhood, punishment, pain, suffering, struggle, and lack. When you reverse this current, you send out into your individual life the differing current, the different current that you are holy, the different current that you are blessed as the holy beloved of God, the different current that you are deserving of love and peace and ease and joy, the different current that you are deserving of a life of light and a life of grace. And as you send this out to your individual light and life, you send this out to the planet as well. And you reverse what the planet uses to create its experience. And you activate the Madagascar effect. And this is much greater than you ever dare imagine with your human ego mind. So that is what you can do over and over again when you find yourself seized by fear as you read in horror the Project 2025 document and its intentions. You ask and you allow and you invite the grace of God into that place within you that is horrified and scared and feels vilified and fears that its life would be diminished significantly. You ask God and you open to God to heal the part of you that fears this, that believes itself worthy of this. You ask and you allow the part of you that is God to remind you that you are holy. And in your holiness and in your innocence, you will not allow the beloved of God that you are to suffer in this way. This changes the energy current. This changes the energy pattern. This changes the trajectory of the energy for you and on the earth. And this is what we would say to you about this. Take this in. And do you see how that which you perceive from a human perspective to be so negative, so corrosive, and so destructive is a catalyst for healing and growth upon the planet? What you see is this horrid document called Project 2025 for we are using your words, for we are perceiving the energy in this space, and the energy in this space perceives this document as absolutely horrid and corrosive and divisive and destructive. But this is a tool, for all things are tools God would use to support you, to heal you, to guide you, and to call you home. This is a tool that triggers your deepest fears so that you might release them to God, transform them, and not use them to miscreate. So, this is a catalyst for healing when you see it differently. Do you understand this one and all? It is also in a sense, an electronic cattle prod, for it is largely an electronic document that is a cattle prod that awakens beings to inform them of their mastery and the power of their choices to either accept such an outcome or to deny such an outcome. And that power is theirs in the power of the vote. For voting is a sacred act of self determination and mastery. And for such a long time, many humans in your planet have taken this for granted or believed they were so disempowered that their vote did not matter. But now you are voting as if the quality of your life depends on it, because it does. Is there perhaps another question?
Yes, Spirit, we welcome this afternoon Elder Van Zant from Faith Temple. He is watching, and he says that this is very illuminating. And what do you think about a relationship between white nationalism and Christian nationalism?
This is an energy of separation, and we would put it in a broader context. As it relates to your country has had, and we would actually literally forklift from a recent sermon we gave through the channel for time. Your country has had a great deal of trauma, and your country is working out this trauma. And we would explain. When your country was founded, it was founded upon a trail of tears. The channel has recently been fond of citing a highway, the Indian Head Highway, because it was a highway in the channel's geographic region named the Indian Head Highway because it was lined with the skulls of Native Americans that had been murdered. Your country has a legacy of slavery. Your country has a legacy of diminishing the power of women. Your country has a legacy of placing the most recent wave of immigrants on the lowest rung of the social ladder with the least social capital. The Eastern Europeans, the Italians, the Irish, the Catholics. For in the lifetimes of many who are on this session, it was not believed that a Catholic could be president of the United States. And that was actually something that was up for discussion. So, this is the legacy of your country and the trauma that your country is working out. Now, your country works out this trauma by becoming aware of all of these layers of trauma. And when they are brought to awareness, they are brought to healing. So, all of this comes out. Yet, those who have benefited the most from social capital and benefited the most from victimizing others and benefited the most at the expense of others are resistant to this, for they fear losing social capital. They fear losing power. As your country has become more secular, and as those who, in human terms, check the box, spiritual but not religious, and those who attend what you call traditional churches on Sunday diminish in numbers, and those who are what you might call white in your country fear losing power, there is a backlash. And that backlash takes the form of white Christian nationalism. That is the antithesis of what the country was founded upon. The country was founded upon principles of equality and egalitarianism, and principles that had their basis in what you might call New Testament Christianity and the principle of the separation of church and state. So these white nationalists are just one aspect of the American consciousness that fears annihilation, just like the human ego fears annihilation when the light of God shines in its heart and the ego is resistant to change or healing or growth because the ego fears that it is being destroyed. It does not know it is being transformed into its highest expression. So, this energy you call white Christian nationalism is like the ego, fearing that it is being destroyed. It is like a child whose parents bring home a new baby, and so the existing child fears that it will not get the love, the support, the attention that it needs from its parents to survive, so it goes into a primal fear. That is what you are seeing here. And what you are seeing so clearly that it is no longer a whisper. For what you call Project 2025 is not a whisper. It is a primal scream. But the overarching American consciousness sees and hears this primal scream for what it is. And in looking at Brexit and looking at the divisions in Europe and looking at the wars in the Middle East and in the Ukraine, they see the destructive nature of this sort of division. And it is extremely unlikely that they will choose this energy of division going forward because they see the results of it and the chaos of it and the pain of it. And generally, humans open to enlightenment in order to mitigate pain and will do so by, we see it unlikely that they will choose a path that would cause this pain in your country. For they see the regressive energies and the pain they have caused in Europe and in your Middle East and in other parts of your world. And this is how we would address this question. Is there perhaps another question?
We are all out of time, and the channel needs to get ready for his next class. So, are there any parting words, Spirit, that you would like to leave with us today?
Yes. Your task is to see and be the world you choose to create. And what we mean by that is as follows. Open yourselves in prayer, open yourselves in meditation, open yourselves in contemplation, open yourselves in devotion to the highest vibration of love possible for you. And as you do so, as we are sending you a final healing and blessing right now, as you open yourself to this energy, and as you realize you are a channel for this energy, that it would be anchored on the earth, ask your highest consciousness and allow your highest consciousness to receive the highest vision of your world consistent with this love. What is the highest vision of the world consistent with this energy of love I receive right now? What is the highest vision of the world consistent with the energy of this love that I am experiencing right now? And you allow yourself to hold this energy, and you allow yourself to vibrate with this energy, and you allow yourself to experience this energy, and you allow yourself to be this energy. And as you allow yourself to be this energy and you receive the visions of what your world would look like if it embodied this energy, as it embodies this energy, and you give yourself permission to exist in this vibration for as long as possible, and you do this regularly, you create a different world that whose manifestation is inevitable. And these are the parting words. Come together in light. For when you come together in light and with like-minded beings, you magnify the amount of light that you are able to anchor onto the earth to heal it exponentially. Remember the Madagascar effect. And this is what we would share with you now. Be blessed and in God forever. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you're back.
Yes, I am.
Well, that was wonderful. We had more questions, but we just didn't have time. So if you we're going to be doing this every Monday here at 5 o'clock Eastern. So if you could, if you'd like your question answered, please put it in the query in the chat early. And so we have an opportunity for spirit to speak. I just found that everything was just wonderful. The message extremely comforting this evening, and that we all have a part to play in bringing this world to light. So, what a wonderful time! So,
Thank you for your help and your support. And let's ask all of our viewers to like this, to share this,
oh,
to
absolutely.
join our YouTube channel and all of that stuff, because there's so much more good stuff that we've got. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Are we complete?